So it looks like we've had an uptick on new and returning players getting ready for the newest DLC for the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn. And I decided to put together 3 builds that I think most of you new and returning players can farm really fast. And then this is going to allow you to work on your library, your shade levels, your expertise levels, or maybe you just want a build that can help you farm new builds, because that's where the division gets fun. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys one of my favorite marksman rifle builds where you don't even have to have insane aim to make work. We'll be showing you guys one of my best run and gun assault rifle builds, and then we'll be showing you guys one of my favorite close and personal builds built around SMG and shotguns. Now with all 3 of these builds, you'll be able to run at least 3 directives, but with the marksman rifle build, you'll be able to run 5 directives. And the gameplay you've been watching has been all 3 builds in action. I'll also show you some more gameplay of them in action when I'm breaking down the build themselves. And don't forget, if you guys have any questions after I break down the build, let me know in the comments. And if you actually enjoy the video after it's done, hey, don't forget to leave a like. All right, guys, I think it's time. Let's get into the build, starting with build number 1. So the first build we'll break down is going to be the Hotshot. And as I mentioned before, the first thing you guys want to do once you hit level 40 is find a build that can make farming other builds really easy. The great thing about the Hotshot is this is going to allow you to pretty much one tap anything going all the way up to heroic. Now, the way the Hotshot works is the 2 piece is going to give you marksman rifle damage and weapon handling, and the 3 piece is going to give you headshot damage. Now, the reason I personally like Hotshot is because of headache. The first headshot with the marksman rifle will increase your next headshot by 20%. The second consecutive headshot with the marksman rifle will give you 10% armor. And if you're at full armor, it'll give you a bonus armor max of 50% of your current armor value. Now, the third consecutive headshot will constantly refill the magazine. And that's why I really like this, because you're going to be hitting headshot, headshot, headshot once you proc determined. And we'll get into that too for you newer and returning players. Now, from the 4th headshot forward, agents will get all 3 bonuses from each consecutive headshot kill. Missing a headshot will reset the cycle. For the mask, we're going to be running armor, headshot damage, and headshot damage. This is pretty much what you're going to see throughout this build in particular. For the chest piece, we have the chain killer chest piece. Now, this is a Walker and Harris chest piece with 5% weapon damage. And we have weapon damage on here, headshot damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage mod. So again, you just need to have headshot, weapon handling. You can put crit if you want on there, but yeah, headshot damage, weapon handling, headshot damage mod. Now, the reason I like Perfect Headhunter, after killing an enemy with the headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of the weapon damage, but this is raised to 1,250% if your headshot damage is greater than 150%. Now, if you don't have the chain killer chest piece, you can go with the regular headhunter, which gives you 125%, and you can go with any other chest piece you can find. For the holster, we have weapon damage, headshot damage, and it's another hotshot piece. For the gloves, we have another hotshot piece, weapon damage, headshot damage. For the knee pads, our 4th and final piece of hotshot for weapon damage, headshot damage. So pretty much weapon damage on everything except one roll we do have blue. And then for the backpack, we have Orality, which gives us that 10% marksman rifle damage. We have weapon damage, weapon handling, headshot damage, and headshot damage right here. Now, I personally have Bloodsucker on here, but if you guys are newer, recommend probably staying away from Bloodsucker until you get a little bit more damage or you start working on your Shade Watch, because you can probably put something like Vigilance, which is going to give you a ton of damage. Remember, Vigilance increases your total weapon damage by 25%. But since I hit so hard with the build, as you guys saw, I didn't even need that extra 25% total weapon damage because I was getting the extra survivability from Bloodsucker. Now, I personally like the SR1 replica, but you can run any other marksman rifle you want that has about 1 million damage. You kind of want to go with any of them that have 1 million. There are going to be some that hit a little bit harder, like the M700 hits a little harder. I personally like the SR1. It's one of the ones that have a cartridge. So once I reload, it reloads all 10 in the magazine, which is really good. Now, we do have marksman rifle damage, headshot damage, damage sharks to cover. I did put some expertise on this, but I will tell you, I ran this on a hardcore character at low level with, I think, 200 shade level, and I was one-shotting and killing heroic. So you guys can definitely use this on those higher difficulties at lower shade levels. Don't worry about that. And then what really puts this together is determined after killing an enemy with a headshot, your next landed to any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. But the way it works with this build is once you get that one headshot, it's all body shots. So you do not have to worry about anything else. Now for the scope, you can put whatever you want. I do have the hollow sight that gives me 10% because I don't want to be scoped in. If you want one that lets you scope in, you can put that on there. We have 5 rounds, 30% accuracy, and 30% accuracy on the large suppressor. But again, this is up to you how you guys want to run it. For secondary, I pretty much put the Scorpio there just as a backup. If you don't have the Scorpio, you can run any other. They have other shotguns out there. Something like the Mop can give you some survivability too. For your skills, the Reviver Hive, especially since you're running a sniper, and then you can run the Pulse or whatever you want there. Now, I do have the same 3 modifiers for each one of these builds. I run Overdrive, I run Critical Recovery, I run Critical Momentum, and I run Microwave Coils. Really up to you on the ones you want. But again, if you guys like running modifiers, those are the modifiers I'm going to be running with all 3 builds for this season. And before we move on to the second build, I did want to show you something. The reason why I do like these builds that have 4 green pieces, because it's very easy for you guys to farm them. All these pieces are pretty much easy for you to farm. The one piece you'll probably have trouble with is a chain killer. But again, as I said, you can run regular headhunter there and it will work. But because I am running 3 green pieces, if we go to our map, you'll see I can put targeted loot at the bottom where it says show targeted loot. And then you can see right here, we have Hotshot in this whole area here. So Hotshot's gonna be any of these activities, these control points. So if I was a new player, I could start off on hard or normal or whatever, and slowly work your way up. Once you put a build together, then you could go, okay, now I can do maybe challenging. Then I can maybe do heroic once you get there. But right now, this whole area here, once you hit level 40, this is the targeted loot area. So look at all these activities, all these control points. And then what you could do is you could reset your map, redo it, and then do it over and over. So for me, that's what I would recommend. So for our second build, we are going to be talking about the Striker. Now, what's great about this is I actually use this same build with maybe some small tweaks to do Legendary. But again, that is something for you guys to work on later on. As a new returning player, even a veteran who's been out for a while, who's coming back to the game, well, you might want to start with Striker build at first, be able to like get better pieces, and once you start getting those God roll pieces, then you can work your way up to doing Legendary content. So the way Strikers works for you new returning players is you get 15% weapon handling for the 2-piece, for the 3-piece, 15% rate of fire, and then the Strikers gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up 100 times. Now, 1 stack is lost per second between 0 and 50, and 2 stacks lost per second between 50 and 100. So let's break down the build. So for the mask, we're running armor, critical damage, critical hit damage mod. Now, we do have 5 reds and 2 blues on this build. For our chest piece, we went a Cheska chest piece. If you don't have Cheska, you can go with Grupo chest piece. Reason why is Cheska is going to give you 8% crit chance. As somebody who's at a lower shade level, your crit chance might not be as high. So having crit chance there is going to be very, very crucial because you want to try to get to that 50% as close as you can. We do have weapon damage on here, critical damage, critical chance, and critical hit damage mod. So all reds. For the talent, we went with Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. Now this does stack up to 20 times. So 20% extra weapon damage you can have on this build. For our second piece of Strikers, we're going to have the holster with weapon damage, critical hit damage. For the knee pads, we have weapon damage, critical damage on another Striker piece. And our fourth and final piece of the Strikers is going to be the Strikers gloves with weapon damage, critical hit chance. Now for the backpack, we are running an exotic backpack, Memento, but I'm going to show you guys a bag you guys can use if you don't have this one. But I did want to show you what you guys want to be going for, right? So for the rolls, we have weapon damage, armor, skill T, and a critical hit chance mod. Now, Can Confirm is so good because when I do pick up a trophy, I'm getting 5% weapon damage. On this build, I have 5 reds, 25% weapon damage. We're getting 20% bonus armor. We're getting 5% skill efficiency. And not only that, once we have 30 collected trophies, we're getting 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen, giving us the survivability we need. Now, if you do not have a Memento backpack, that's where you can look for a Striker backpack, maybe something like this, an all red one, weapon damage, crit damage, put a mod. And that's going to be a good one to start off with. So if you don't have Memento because you're newer, you could switch out one of your other Striker pieces, the gloves, the holster, the knee pads, maybe for some other piece you want on there, maybe Walker and Harris, maybe a zoo piece. You could decide what piece you want to put on there. But again, if you swap out that backpack, remember, you could put on another gold piece somewhere else on the build. Now for our weapon, I've become a big fan recently of the Chameleon. I've been using it a lot. I use it in my solo master run. I like this. If you don't have this, I'll explain to you some other options. So the reason why the Chameleon is good is because we have assault rifle, health damage, shark side cover, but the talent itself is really good. Hitting 30 headshots, which we will hit, 20% crit chance, and 50% crit damage for 45 seconds. If we hit 65 body shots, that is 90% weapon damage for 45 seconds. And if we hit 20 leg shots, that's 150% reload speed. So this has become one of my favorite. On the Striker, it has 1,035 RPM. I'm really, really loving this. Now, if you do not have the Chameleon, you guys can run something like the F2000, which you can actually craft this one or farm it. And the reason why I like this is because it's one of the harder hitting assault rifles in the game. And it's not limited. It's not rare like the Lexington, right? You have assault rifle, health damage, to cover what you would want. And then for the talent, I run something like Killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 70% critical damage for 10 seconds. Now, we do have critical hit chance on here, 20 rounds, and then critical hit chance on the muzzle. The one bad thing about the F2000, it doesn't have 4 mod slots. Now, if you want, you can run something like the Police M4 with the same rolls, or if you're lucky enough, the Lexington would be the next best bet. Now, another good option if you want to go exotics, you can go with the St. Elmo's. St. Elmo's is a really good one too. Very easy to use, very accurate. But again, Chameleon, Lexington, St. Elmo's. You could even go with the F2000 or the Police M4. Really up to you on what you want to do for the weapons there. For the skills, I'm running the same skills, the Reviver Hive and the Pulse. And the modifiers I already showed you. For the Striker and for the Hotshot build, I personally like running the Gunner class that gives you that 10% armor on. Just a really nice way to keep you up. Now, the third and final build we're going to get into is an SMG build, and this one's built around the Hunter's Fury. This has always been one of my favorite builds to run if I'm going to run an SMG or a shotgun, because it not only gives you bonuses to both of those, it also gives you the survivability to survive. You can get up to 30% armor on kill just with running a gunner specialization and running the Hunter's Fury. And that's a ton of armor, especially if you're chaining kills together. Now, the way the Hunter's Fury works is the 2-piece is going to give you 15% shotgun damage and 15% SMG damage. The 3-piece is going to give you 20% armor on kill. You pair that with the gunner class, that's going to give you 30% armor on kill, and you get 50% health on kill. Now, the Hunter's Fury itself has a talent called Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Now, killing a debuff enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies for 5 meters, but it also amplifies your weapon damage by 5%. So that could be additional 25% extra amplified weapon damage on the build. Now, for the mask, we are going to be running a lot of weapon damage. We have 4 reds and 3 blues on this build. We have weapon damage, critical hit damage, and a critical hit damage mod. For the chest piece, we went with the Sokolova chest piece for the 10% critical hit damage. We have weapon damage on here, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage mod. For the talent, just like the Striker, we want to obliterate because we have a lot of crit on this build. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. So another really good talent that you guys can put on the build. For our second piece of Hunter's Fury, we're going to go with the holster. And on this one, we're going to go with armor and critical hit damage. For our knee pads, we have weapon damage, critical damage, another Hunter's Fury. And finally, we have the Hunter's Fury gloves with armor and critical hit damage. Yes, we do have the Memento backpack as our bag on this, and I won't explain this again as I explained this in my second build. But if you do not have this, we have a great solution for you. You can run something like the Grupo Sombra backpack, a 2-piece Sokolova. Those are both going to give you 13% critical hit damage. Not only that, we have weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and you would put a critical hit damage mod there. Now, this is going to have Unstoppable Force, where killing an enemy increases your total weapon damage by 5% for 15 seconds. So that stacks up to 5 times. That could be additional 25% extra weapon damage. So if you do not have the Memento backpack, this could be a great piece for you. You could also go with something like Vigilance, increase total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables a buff. Another really good one. If you want some type of survivability, you could maybe put something like Bloodsucker. Killing an enemy adds a refresh stacks of 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds. My recommendation is either stick to offensive for this one. You're going to want to go Unstoppable Force or go Vigilance on this one, and those are going to work great. And those are the 3 builds that I would recommend new returning players to get into, and hopefully this video was very informative. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my other builds I have on this channel, whether you're trying to do master difficulty, you're trying to do legendary missions, you just want to use skill builds. If you want to find PvP builds, there are build playlists on here, and if you have any questions on any of the guides, we have full guides right here on this channel. So I see you guys in the next one. Hey, take it easy. Nothing but skills out.